right. Slowly, Levy, Forbes, Hill, and Nanda on the outside there in lane 7.
Set.
7.241 the previous. Levy is out well. Forbes as well. Hill has some work to do. Slowly is traveling nicely. Sasha Lee Forbes will take it now. Flash time of 7.44.
The wind has eased up a bit, negative 0.1.
7.18 is the official winning time for Sasha Lee Forbes.
Karika Hill there for second. Sasha Lee Forbes, the national representative at 100 and 200 meters, leads from start to finish. Karika Hill was catching her, but realized that the line was there. So Sasha Lee Forbes is certainly through to the final. And I suspect that Karika Hill with 7:22 should get there as well. Remember, the winning time by Tina Clayton in Heat 2 was 7:24. So we still have to go back to Heat 1, which I believe will come after the 3 men's 60 meters.
So will be the men's 60 meters and some real interesting happenings in the women's 60 meters. This one, like the women's 60 meters, expected to be highly competitive. A number of well-known names coming up.
Johan Blake there on screen.
Blake. And there's also Oblique Seville,
Oblique
seasonal
Seville, yeah.
opener for Oblique Seville. A number of big names here. It's Oblique Seville, World Championship finalist in the 100 meters. And it's a breakout year. And you feel that the sky's the limit for young sprinter who has promised so much, Michael Campbell. It's always such a delight to see Michael Campbell back on the track, given what he has been through and continues to improve race after race. You saw a shot there of Michael Stevens from Calabar, Kadrian Golson from GC Foster College. And there he is, has a personal best of 6.54. Done this year, Kadrian Golson. And that's Javoy Tucker. He'll be running out of lane 8 from MVP. So, names, the quality there. Barneswell in that lineup as well. As we go through. This is the first section of the men's 60 meters. Javel Wright in 1, Nigel Ellis in 2, Shane Bailey in 3, Ramon Barneswell in 4, Akeem Blake in 5, Kadrian Golson in 6, Michael Stevens in 7, and Javoy Tucker in lane 8. It looks as if all 8 gentlemen have reported. A shot there of Nigel Ellis with Javel Wright on the outside. There's a Shane Bailey in that white and black. Ramon Barneswell, Keith Blake,
the
World Championship representative,
and NACAC 100 meter champion too.
Kadrian Golson. You just wait until for Kadrian Golson to have this magnificent breakout year. It's been improving year by year. Michael Stevens promised a lot while attending Calabar. Was part of that Calabar. Hubert Lawrence calls it the golden generation for Calabar.
World under 20 100 meter finalist as well.
Yeah. And as I said, Kadrian Golson, every time he steps onto the track, you expect something. Had a decent showing at the national championships last year. Michael Stevens,
former Calabar High standout.
Yeah,
Stevens
track club.
So what we're looking for here, gentlemen, is Akeem Blake to get a fantastic
On your
start,
marks.
and Kadrian Golson in lane 6 to have the best finish.
All right, here we go. As they are sent to their blocks. Middle of your track. Barneswell, Blake Goldson. Let's see what they'll give us after 60 meters. The first of two in the men's 60-meter heats. And yes, it is 60 meters. Wright, Ellis, Bailey, Barneswell, Blake, Goldson, Stevens, and Tucker.
Set.
Set position, bang, sent off early. Bailey's out good. Here comes Blake and Goldson right beside him. To the line they go. Akeem Blake takes it just ahead of Goldson of GC Foster.
Just in case you wonder, viewers, I had not seen the race before. So when I said that Akeem Blake would get the best start and Kadrian Goldson would get the best finish, but the times are what's impressive. Akeem Blake, 6:56, faster than he ran 2 weeks ago at the Camperdown Classic with Johan Blake. Let's look at it again. Akeem Blake there in lane 5 in the lime green, the best start of all, but in that brown, the tall, powerful Kadrian Goldson, for every step getting closer and closer. 6:56 to 6:59, I believe, is what he's going to come down to as the final times. Negative 0.4 was the wind.
I did say some super stuff. And again, as Bruce said, called it perfectly. The start that Akeem Blake got, it's now become a custom of Akeem Blake to get that start. But Kadrian Goldson, again, I'll say it, that every time you see him, he looks to be improving. 6.56 for Akeem Blake, 6.59 for Kadrian Goldson. For Shane Bailey, 6.70 the same time for Nigel Ellis in 4th. Michael Stevens, 5th. Ramon Barneswell, 6th. Javel Wright in 7th with 6.81 and 6.88 for Javoy Tucker. Stephens 6.76. I reckon that's a personal best for Akeem Blake. On previous time would have been 6.61.
Of course, the
talk about sprint hurdlers. Doing the 60 meter, we heard Jay Gale talking about wanting to run the 100 meters and doing well in the 100 meters. Yes, someone who will be looking at the 60 meters perfect preparation for the sprint hurdles event. And there are a few of them in this one. Orlando Bennett, he'll go in lane 1. There he is to the right of your screen. You would have seen this man in the men's long jump earlier today. Emmanuel Archibald at Swept Track Club. He's from Guyana, attended GC Foster College. The Commonwealth Games 110-meter gold medalist, the reigning RJR Gleaner Sports Foundation National Sportsman of the Year, Rashid Broadbell. Jeevan Newby, Kingston College. He's a quick fellow, oblique Seville. He's a former Class 1 champion from Calabar, World Championship finalist. He goes in lane 5. Beside him, from MVP Track Club, 6.63 at his best over 60 meters, Michael Campbell. Rashid Foster from the Micah University College. He's just holding back the smile, trying to concentrate on this one, and that he'll have to do. And Javon White rounding out the field here. So it's Bennett, Archibald, Broadbell, Newby, Seville, Campbell, Foster, and White.
So the time to beat, 6.56 seconds by Akeem Blake in the first in the first heat. This is Oblique Seville, the World Championship finalist at over 100 meters.
Set.
Set position. Sent off. Archibald out quickly.
No, there was movement.
Back.
There was definite movement at the start. Look at the replay. We'll see. Thing is, with the 60 meters, by the time you call them back, let's look at the start. I believe it could have been lane 8 or 7. 7, there was some movement there. So let's see. You see movement in 7? Yeah.
Just Yeah, just.
Yeah,
and,
once you move, the
7.
system is going to...
That's Rashid Foster of Maiko. The cameras are on.
If you move, the system will detect it. You have to be perfectly still. We went through the 3 races of the women. Oh, he's warned. And that's actually fairly reasonable in that, though he did twitch, I think by the time he left the blocks, the gun had sounded. So I think it's a reasonable position to take. Of course, we'll find out if he does not move this time.
So sent back to their blocks, second time of asking. Once again, lane assignments. Orlando Bennett in 1, Archibald in 2, Broadbell 3, Newby in 4, Seville in 5, Campbell in 6, Foster 7, and Javon White of GC Foster in lane 8. Got for Seville, Newby in inside lanes 4 and 5.
Set.
Sent off, and Newby's out well. So too Broadbell and Archibald. Seville will have some work to do, and he does catch the field easily at the end. So Seville didn't get out to the best start, but my, what a speed ball Oblique Seville is, as he caught them on the line and had enough time to look across as well.
Okay.
He enjoyed that.
The 60 meters is intense. There's no time for separation. Seville giving it at 6:57. But look at this. The entire field together at this point. It's 10 meters in. Rashid Broadbell perhaps moving best of all. But then Oblique Seville with the overdrive. Michael Campbell going with him there in lane 6. But it's going to be Oblique Seville, Broadbell, and in lane 2, our long jumper, who's not just a long jumper, Emmanuel Archibald. I think they're going to have a bit of sorting out to do.
Yeah, Broadbell was in the mix as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of tidying up to do. That was a blanket finish. The photo finish team has a lot of work to do there.
So let's see what comes up on the board. So they have Seville at 6:57. I think that's okay. Based on the eye test, I think Seville separated himself. Broadbell at 6:59.
And Archibald,
Then you have Archibald at 6:59. Campbell, 6.62. Javon White, 6.65. Javon Newby, 6.68. And Rashid Foster, 6.74. And Bennett, 6.86.
Yeah, I think they got it right. That was a blanket finish. Whoever is sitting behind the photo finish booth right now had a lot of work to do at that time. But the intensity of the 60 meters, I mean, at 30 meters, everybody's still together. Oblique Seville was actually a bit back. He came fourth in the world last year at the World Championships. That's one of the unfortunate numbers in track and field. You don't get a medal, people don't remember it. But what a fantastic finish from Oblique Seville right there. Broadbell looking good at 6:59. We're still trying to figure out who are going to be the 8 in the finals.
Well, I'm tempted to say, Bruce, based on what we've seen over the years, not saying it's anything like that, but you probably don't get a medal this year, but you probably hear 10, 15 years down the line that maybe you're in line for a medal. That's Yohan Blake. So much you can say about Yohan Blake, but one word, warrior. Tariq Wilson set to go in 1. Hassan Taftian in 2. O'Dane McPherson in 3, Zarnell Hughes in 4, Brendan Rodney in 5, Yohan Blake in 6, Ron Watson in 7, and Wazeem Williams in lane 8.
One thing we can tell you, viewers, is that all the Jamaican-based men who sprint have turned up. We have 3 heats, 8 lanes, 24 men, no empty lanes. In the case of the women, there were a couple of empty lanes.
It's only 60 meters after all.
Isn't there money on the line as well?
I'm just saying that the men have turned up, though. I mean, Yohan Blake is there. Zarnell Hughes is there. We saw Oblique Seville. We saw Akeem Blake. Everybody is there. They really have turned up for this meet.
Right across the line, and that's always good to see Yohan Blake with his back turned. Is Yohan Blake, and he will go down as it stands as the second fastest man ever over 100 meters. He went from the beast to the blessed one to simply just Yohan Blake. but at his best, a fantastic athlete. Wasim Williams on the outside. So once again, Wilson, Taftian, McPherson, Hughes, Rodney,
On your
Blake,
marks.
Watson, Williams. Final section of the men's 60-meter dash.
Center their blocks. 6.56 the winning time for Heat 1. 6.57 the winning time for Heat 2. Let's see what will be.
6.58, the winning
Yep.
time for Heat 3.
Let's
Is that
see
how
if
it
that will
works?
be offered up.
Is life linear?
So they settle inside their blocks. Wilson, Taftian, McPherson, Hughes, Rodney, Blake, Watson, and Wasim Williams of Elite Performance all there in lane 8. Third heat, men's
Set.
60 meters. Set off, clean break. And McPherson is out quickly. Here comes Johan Blake now, and Hughes as well. Hughes will take it
Wow.
just ahead of Johan Blake. So Zarnell Hughes,
Darnell Hughes with the fastest
Of
time of
Anguilla,
the day.
formerly
Six-
of KC, competes for Great Britain, trains at the Racers Track Club. So 6.57.
For Blake, Hughes
Blake.
6.52.
So Hughes at 6.52.
So amazing, amazing running. And we should now be, let's look at the replay. Best out in the middle, or was it lane 1, Tariq Wilson? But in the middle of the field, Brendan Rodney was leading at this stage. Johan Blake goes to the front, and then Zarnell Hughes, the fastest finisher. Ooh, I don't
think
know.
Blake got it.
That's very close, but the times have them way apart. And, you know, the torso is what matters, but yeah, that I'll admit it. From here, and we're not in the best position, viewers, 6:52 to 6:57 seems a little far, but we've made it through the men's 60s. We still have one more 60-meter race for the women. They're moving the blocks. I'm not sure when they're going to run that 60-meter race to allow Heat 1 time to recover for the final, because at least one person from Heat 1 is going to make the final, the winner. So, yeah.
It's a strange one. Continues to be a strange one. And by the way, the women's 60-meter final is scheduled for 7 p.m. And by my watch, 6.52, 6.54 for Johan Blake. Rodney gets the 6.57 in third.
Thank you.
Wasim Williams, 6.62. And Ron Watson, formerly of Yorkcastle, 6.63. Dane McPherson, 6.67. That shows you how close it was.
All right, so what everybody wants to know, everybody
top-
wants to know who has qualified,
Who has
Jermaine. Are you going to
qualified.
share that with them for the 60-meter men?
You can consult your wonderful friend, Rasta Athletics, who will tell you the qualifiers.
Well, they're still sorting out Heat 3. I think they still need to confirm that.
Yeah.
But
Well, we had 6.56 and 6.59 for Blake and
6.57.
Golson in Heat 1. Then we had 6.57 and two 6.59s, that is Archibald and Broadbell from Heat 2. So that's 3. And then we had Hughes at 6.52, Blake at 6.54. Rather, Blake at 6.54 and Rodney at 6.57.
okay, it's
think-
now
yep.
complete. So Zarnell
Those might
Hughes,
be the top
6:52
Yes.
is in. Johan Blake, 6:54 is in. Akeem Blake, 6:56 is in. Brendan Rodney, 6:57, and Oblique Seville, 6:57. They're both in. Kadrian Golson at 6:59 is in. Rashid Broadbell also at 6:59 is in. Emmanuel Archibald also at 6:59 is in. Therefore, not making the cut, Michael Campbell, 6:62. Wasim Williams, 6:62. Ron Watson, 6:63.
Yep.
It shows how close the races were, and you can see the National Stadium starting to get a little bit more body as far as spectators are concerned, because we're getting down into the evening part, and it's all finals from here. And the blocks move around. You will get to see the primary school athletes who haven't really had a lot of competition this year. my memory serves me right, Jermaine, they did not get to compete at the Gibson McCook Relays last year because of COVID-19 regulations and I believe some vaccination
In fact,
situations.
the last time they competed at Gibson would have been 2020.
2020?
Yes.
Yes.
Gibson Relays was one of the
Last
last events
Yes.
in
that were
2020.
able to take place on the
Yes.
track
Right.
before
Before COVID.
Remember now,
COVID-19.
Champs was cancelled a week before in 2020. We came that close
Yeah.
It
with
was.
one case. Just in case.
Are you trying to
Hey, we're
make,
a small
are you
island.
still
Hey.
trying to make the case for them?
Listen, I'll always remember David Riley, stating that claim that it shouldn't have been cancelled just for
For one case.
one case.
And look where we are today. It's good to have track and field back. The Calabar contingent there, you can spot them. And again, it's just that area of the bleachers where unless it's night, you still can't do without your umbrellas. They talk about the prep and primary school athletes, saw them at the Milo Western Relays. And it was a good thing last week at the Isaac Henry Memorial meet, invitational meet, that you also had a few races for the primary and prep school athletes just to get in some practice before Gibson McCook Relays, which is always good.
Definitely. They ran late into the evening, but I suppose, Ronaldo, that might have been a reason for that, in terms that they knew they would be competing this week at Gibson, so give them that chance to compete before this prestigious relay carnival. So it's Our Lady of the Angels in 2, St. Teresa Prep 3, Emmanuel Christian in 4, Lannerman's 5, St. Peter and Paul in 6, Vaz Prep 7, Mona Prep in lane 8. So that is how they are lined up. Missing from lane 3, that should have been St. Teresa. And so they are out. But representing from lane 2, Our Lady of the Angels has reported, along with Emmanuel Christian Academy in 4, Lannerman's Prep in 5, St. Peter and Paul in 6, Vaz in 7, Mona in 8. And this is the under 10 boys. So the under 12s will be coming up a bit later.
This is a nice atmosphere for children under 10 years old to have this experience now, running under really professional conditions. Electronic guns, a nice crowd in the grandstand, a building crowd in the bleachers. It's really good. And if kids can have this exposure at this stage, if the children get exposed, nothing's going to bother them when they get further and further along. It prepares them for boys and girls champs. It then prepares them for the world champs, the Olympics.
And this is why this is track and that is why this is track and field country. I mean, you'll find in other North American countries, you'll have a 4x60, a 4x80, but in Jamaica we have the under 10s going around the track. Even at the basic school level, the under 6 they have a 4x1. So track and field is a culture here, not too dissimilar from football being a culture in Brazil. And this is the reason for that.
And look, if you're under 10 and you can tell your friends and family that I competed on the National Stadium track, the same track that Shelley and Fraser Price ran on, Usain Bolt ran on, Johan Blake ran on, look, you have talk in the house.
Or even to say, tune into TVJ and TVJ SN right now.
You
to see
can
us
see
competing.
me. So many persons live their entire life and they're never on TV. They have an opportunity not just to be on TV, but to represent themselves and their schools.
And many of them wouldn't be used to running from the blocks either, Ronaldo. So you find the officials taking their time to help them to set their blocks and ensure that they are comfortable, because you don't want them to, you don't want any mishaps when they leave the blocks. You don't want the blocks to leave with them as when they're sent off. You don't want those blocks lifting up at all. And that's St. Peter and Paul, and they'll be lining up in lane 6. Behind them, Emmanuel in 4. Our Lady of the Angels will be in 2. Vaz Prep in 7. That's Mona out there in lane 8.
Just having a slight delay here. Not sure why the starter isn't yet on his podium. The starter's assistant is having some discussions. You're looking there at lane 8, as Jermaine said, Mona,
I think they
spikes and all.
I think they might be checking the different boxes as well, just to ensure that they're all ready.
I saw them do a test of the clock as well earlier.
The record for this event, 54.29 seconds, set back in the year 2013 by Vaz Prep. Of course, the GISA Prep Schools Championships will come up in June thereabouts. We also have the primary schools championships that will
primary
come
school
up.
championships will generally culminates with the national championships, primary school championships. They started there just testing.
Yeah.
The gun saw another test there with the clock.
Yeah, our producer Sharon Trout is telling us that they're having some issues with the gun there as well, Renato. So we're spot on with that one.
I miss the days with the loud bang. No, everything has gone electronic.
But the youngsters, they are ready and they're just waiting to be sent off.
It looks as if the starter is ready.
Sent to their blocks now.
In lane 2, Our Lady of the Angels. Manuel in 4, Lannemans in 5, St. Peter and Paul in 6, Vaz in 7, and Mona in lane 8.
So that is how they're lined up for the under 10 boys 4x100 meter relay. Record of 54.29 set back in 2013.
Set. Stand up.
They're asked to stand up once again.
Maybe what you suggested earlier about the blocks, Jermaine. Just looking at lane 8, Mona took some time to settle into their blocks, and there he is, took some time to settle into his blocks. And the officials also speaking with lane 4, Emmanuel. They're sent to their blocks again. Our Lady of the Angels, Emmanuel, Lanneman, St. Peter and Paul, Vaz, and Mona. The boys under 10 4x100 meter prep school final.
Set.
So 6 will go here. Finally sent off the under 10 boys 4x100 meter relay. Vaz Prep is out quite quickly, and traveling well also is St. Peter and Paul. Who will make the first changeover? It's St. Peter and Paul, and they're going to work. Vaz still there, and also Mona also doing some of the running up top. So it's St. Peter and Paul along with Vaz Prep, and also Landemans is also in the mix. So it's Mona, Vaz Prep, St. Peter and Paul, and Landemans is also coming back into the picture. But up top, it's Mona Prep from Vaz, St. Peter and Paul, and Emmanuel. Final changeover, Mona. They continue to lead. Mona cantering to victory. Landemans also closing on St. Peter and Paul. Close going for second, but no doubting Mona Prep comes across the line with victory. And the under 10 boys 4x100 meter relay. Close going between St. Peter and Paul and Landemans. Vaz taking fourth. But Mona from lane 8 claiming victory in the under 10 boys 4x100 meter relay.
You look at his face there, Jermaine, and you can tell that he meant business in anchoring his team. The exchanges were pretty smooth for Mona on the outside, maybe because everyone would be behind them from the start. As we look back at it, they got out quickly, Mona. The inside, there's Vaz in the yellow, St. Peter and Paul in the purple as we look at the first exchange here. Mona, it was a little bit late, had some problems for Emmanuel. I saw the flag come up for that first exchange, and then they hit the 200 meter mark. And look at this on the outside, lane 8, hand up, collects the baton, and he's off. Smooth, efficient, and from there it was all about catch me if you can from Mona in that dark blue and white on the outside. Final exchange, another one, smooth on the inside. Almost had some problems there, the teams. But Mona, and then a superb run. Looks to be Landemans. And St. Peter and Paul was battling it out there for the second spot, and maybe lane 6, St. Peter and Paul's got the win. Look at the focus, look at the determination, look at the poise and the finish. So
we know Mona came through with victory there in the under 10 boys 4x100 meter relay. And, we'll give you the official times for them shortly. The primary schools section will come up next.
This is the under 10, but this time for primary schools. I've seen the likes of Nagahead there who are so dominant.
This is such a great tradition that Gibson Relays has, inviting the prep schools, inviting the primary schools. I think this is something that another of the many reasons that Gibson McCook Relays needs to be commended.
So Greater Portmore set to go in 1, Spanish Town Primary in 2, St. Jude's in 3, Russell Primary in 4, Jericho Primary in 5, St. Richard's in 6, Nagahead Primary in 7, and then Kensington Primary in lane 8. A couple of St. Catherine schools there. And you expect that they will meet in the central zone when it comes around to the InSport Primary School Championships. And then they could very much meet again at the national stage.
All right, so the record for the event, 53.48. And as they get inside their blocks, for the primary school boys under 10 4x100 meter relay. Let's remember once upon a time they shuttle hurdles here at Gibson Relays. Sent about their business, and this the under 10 boys 4x100 meter relay. Even break. St. Richard's moving nicely in lane 6 along with Nagahead. So Nagahead, problems there for Nagahead. St. Richard's now takes charge and motoring down that back stretch. And on the inside, that's Windward Road. So problems for Nagahead, but St. Richard's, they have that lead. Problems also, but on the inside, it might be Windward Road, who taking advantage of those 4 baton passes. So it is Spanish Town, in fact. So Spanish Town with the lead. There's Spanish Town, and on the inside, maybe Rousseau. But it's Spanish Town with the lead. Spanish Town motoring to victory in this under 10 boys 4x100 meter relay.
Yeah, big tick there for Spanish Town Primary. And coming through and winning that. Nagahead on the outside, who we expected would have been in the mix, messed up their first exchange. As we look back at it here, pretty even start. Look out for Nagahead in lane 7. They're in that red, that aqua strip down the side. Look at the first exchange. So I'm not sure what happened there. So he's actually looking for his teammate who wasn't on the track. And it looks as if lane 4, Russell Primary, there was a mix-up as well with them. And you look at the second exchange, and at this stage, it was all Spanish Town Primary on the inside. And St. Richard's trying to get into the mix. The exchange turned around, he's off the track. He's done his job and he's off the track. He says, I'll leave it to you to take us home, and that he did.
He gave you enough of a lead that you could handle this.
And Spanish Town coming through for the win, and coming through quite comfortably in the end. St. Jude's in lane 3 coming through for second, and then lane 6, St. Richard's Primary took third. And it's just the determination of these athletes. And they will be happy with that. So 55.76 for Spanish Town Primary. St. Jude's 57.21. St. Richard's Primary 57.71. The top 3 there. Greater Portmore 58.79. Rounding out the top four. And now we move on to the boys 10 to 12. 4x100 meter. There's a star in the making. That's lane 8. Russell Primary wasn't. His team didn't have much luck in the under 10 for primary schools. He looks quite relaxed.
Well,
He's seen his under 10 team take home gold. He's from Spanish Town Primary, will run out of lane 6. Greater Portmore in 1, Nagahead in 2, Windward Road Primary in 3, St. Richards in 4, Harborview in 5, Spanish Town 6, License Primary in 7, and Russell Primary in lane 8. The 10 to 12 4x100 meter relay for primary schools.
Let me bring the viewers up to date with what is being proposed. The 70-meter race that took place. Everybody who ran in that race is going to be allowed to run in a 60-meter B final. And the other 2 heats are going to serve as the people who will run in the A final.
Do we get money for both?
We don't. I guess it's going to be time. This is going to come down to the time.
So we'll have to check if it will be a timed final, because if you're having 2, and then is it fair for the other athletes from the other heats?
Well, I think they're trying to find the best possible solution. So we're going to have more than 8 people run for the 60-meter final, just in 2 sections.
When we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. But for now, let's see, boys 10 to 12. 4x100 meter relay for primary schools. The record here, 51.96, set in 2019 by that school again from Portmore Nagahead Primary, whose track and field program is.
The likes of Yuri Lawrence would have been on that team. He's now at KC, anchored KC in the heats here in Class 1.
Someone who doing excel has a lot of time for Yuri Lawrence.
So they get inside their blocks for 10 to 12.
Lane 3, 1 near in the ground.
4x100 meter relay for boys, primary schools. Greater Portmore, Nagahead, Windward Road,
Set.
St. Richards, Harborview, Spanish Town, License, and so full field here in this one. Moving well up top, that's a License and also Spanish Town Primary on the inside. That is St. Richards as well. So up top, it's Spanish Town Primary and License. Rousseau also traveling well. And it's St. Richards on the inside. And Rousseau. So Spanish Town with that lead. They took the under 10 boys section. Can they take the under 12s as well? So it's Spanish Town. Will they do the double Spanish Town? Well on their way. Spanish Town Primary. And on the inside, that is Windward Road. So Spanish Town being hunted by Nagahead, actually. Spanish Town, they'll take the under 12s as they did in the under 10s. And Spanish Town at the double record might well be 50.93, so it's a new record for the under 12 boys, the 4x100 meter relay for primary schools. And my, 50.97, erasing the old mark of 51.96 set by Nagahead back in 2019 as he
So the only people who I think are running faster than those primary school boys right now are the high school coaches running to get the names and contact info to get them to their high schools.
I tell you what, when you talk about the conveyor belt that is Jamaica's track and field and the legacy, just look at this race. Russell Primary on the outside, they're in lane 8. At this point, they have a slight lead. Inside that St. Richard's Primary, middle of your screen in full red. Spanish Town Primary, he's third from left. Look at this exchange. Smooth. He's gone. That's where they killed the race on Spanish Town Primary. With the advantage, with the lead here. And coming into the final exchange. Again, look at this. Outgoing runner. He's up, hands up, baton exchange, and he's off. That's how you break a record. never before
Yeah.
in primary schools competing at the Gibson McCook relays, the boys 10 to 12. Have we seen a team go below 51 seconds?
Brilliant
It's the
stuff.
first. The record goes to Spanish Town Primary.
And
Brilliant stuff.
it should be
And
noted
again,
as well, they took the double as they won the under 10s as well.
when that happens, Jermaine, I believe we need to give a shout out to the coaches. There's somebody doing some preparation and doing it well.
So here's it. First school, primary school, boys 10 to 12 to go below 51 seconds. 50.97 record for Spanish Town Primary. Nagahead 51.58. Windward Road Primary 52.72. License 52.72 as well. 51.58 would have gone below the record of 51.96 in 2019 by Nagahead. So the top two teams, schools in that race, all went below the previous standard. You talk about track and field, competitive track and field, and we have it here in Jamaica.
So the prep school section for 10 to 12 boys, and this the 4x100 meter relay will be next up on track. The officials just helping the youngsters to set their blocks.
I'm trying to figure out how the camera person got in that position, though. And that's not a drone, viewers.
I think that's Michael Tingling. I've gotten to the point where I stopped asking him questions about that.
Okay, so it's not just me. All right.
I've seen him gone over hurdles, under hurdles. I've not asked.
That was Vaz Prep, I believe, on screen, and they're going to the max.
This is lane 5. That's Heidel.
One knee on the ground.
So
In
it's
the-
St.
on
Peter
your
and
mark.
Paul, St. Andrew Prep, Emmanuel, Heidel, Vaz, Lannemans, and Our Lady of the Angel.
Set.
Set position. And sent off, even start for the field. Vaz Prep moving well up top, so too Lannemans and also Heidel. So these three are up early. So it's Lannemans, Vaz Prep, and Heidel. Lannemans still leading. Here comes Heidel now. What a scorching backstretch by Heidel, going by Vaz and also catching up with Lannemans. Poor baton change there for Heidel, but on the inside it's St. Peter and Paul also. Heidel right there. So St. Peter and Paul, they have that slight lead. So it's St. Peter and Paul, they have that lead and they're cantering. Problems for Heidel. Vaz in second, but up top it's St. Peter and Paul. Heidel with some work to do to come back in this one, but no stopping St. Peter and Paul in lane 2 from Vaz and Heidel, who had some baton problems and the second and the third changeovers and suffering as a result. And a new record I think we might have there as well in this, the prep schools section. So 52.36, the winning time for St. Peter and Paul, erasing the previous record of 52.71 set by Emmanuel Prep back in 2019.
It's a situation now, Jermaine and Bruce. It's almost like anything you can do, I can do the same or better. We've seen a record from Spanish Town in the previous section, the primary school section, and now we're seeing another record. And you're teaching. I remember going to UTech and they talk about the passes and you talk about the up sweep, the down sweep, and the push pass. They're saying, just give me the baton. I'll get it around and I'll give you a record to boot. When you look at the exchange from some of these primary and prep school athletes, you're just amazed at their age. Look at this pass. Easy, smooth, I'll get it done. And I won't just get it done, I'll get you a record as well.
Again, what's amazing about this as well is that this is the first competition, really the first competition that these prep and primary school kids are having for 2023. Their season really peaks in June. I think Jermaine may have mentioned that.
Yeah.
Jermaine knows that because his daughter went while at prep school was one of the stars for, was it Mona Prep, Jermaine? Vaz Prep. Vaz against Mona. You had some big clashes there.
Noah Star at Immaculate, isn't she? St. Peter and Paul. winning 52.36, a new record. Vaz Prep 53.10, and then Heidel Prep 53.50, Lannemans 54.43. St. Andrew Prep and Emmanuel Christian Academy completing placings 5 to 6. We've seen the boys, they've provided 2 records, both coming, and the boys 10 to 12. One from the primary section, the other from the prep section. Now it's up to the girls to match it or go even better. This is the girls at 10 to 12, 4x100 meters for prep schools. You're looking at Heidel there. They're going in lane 6. This is St. Andrew primary. They're in 5. Emmanuel in 4. So let's take it from lane 1. Mona Prep in 1. Lannemans in 2. Vaz in 3. Emmanuel Christian Academy in 4. St. Andrew Prep in 5. Heidel in 6. St. Peter's and Paul in 7. And Our Lady of the Angels Prep in lane 8. Record here, 52.41. Set in 2019.
All right, so it's Mona, Lannemans, Vaz, Emmanuel, St. Andrew, Heidel, St. Peter and Paul,
Set.
Our Lady of the Angels. The prep school on the 12 girls 4x1s and sent off. And Vaz moving nicely, and also going up top, that is Heidel, and also St. Peter and Paul. So it's the St. Peter and Paul, but they'll be having some problems, might exchange outside the zone. And Heidel also traveling nicely. Our Lady of the Angels. Heidel, though, with the lead, only just. St. Peter and Paul still in there with the business. Heidel now, they've taken charge. So it's Heidel. And on the inside, that is Lannemans. But it's Heidel there in lane 6. Lannemans in lane 2. Says Heidel and Lannemans. The record, 52.41, set back in 2019. It's Heidel pressing. Lannemans is still there, but Heidel will take this one. And they don't get the record, but they get the victory. Heidel from Lannemans.
Nicely done by the young ladies. Heidel, surprisingly enough, is not the current GISA Prep Champs champions. That title went to Emmanuel Christian Academy for the first time in 2022, where Emmanuel Christian Academy being the top prep school in athletics. So GISA Prep Champs, Emmanuel Christian Academy, but winning the girls 4x1 for the prep schools today, Heidel.
Just in case you're wondering the color, Hubert Lawrence, who you'll hear from in not so long from now, will tell you lilac. And once you're in that color, it seems as if you have some extra boost. Heidel displaying it here. And some smooth exchanges again. A real battle, very competitive, right down to the very last exchange. And look at Heidel, 3rd from left on your screen. Problems on the outside for St. Peter and Paul in that purple. Wasn't detrimental on the inside. Also trying to get into the mix. That Spanish down. Rather, that's Lannemans in lane 2. And look at the final exchange here for Heidel. It was all about getting to the line. And look at lane 2, Lannemans pressing just a bit, but Heidel had enough in the tank to hold them off and to get the win. We've seen some superb races thus far, and what that tells you is that the 2023 Gibson McCook Relays is not any ordinary Gibson McCook Relays. It's the 50th staging of the Gibson McCook Relays. It's on in full swing. Greater Portmore, well, that should be the results there. We know the winner was Heidel, who came across the line first there. And it's 50th anniversary of the Gibson McCook Relays. We see the spectators here. Once you have a track, once you have some lanes, some athletes, and some batons, I guarantee you that people in Jamaica will show up. You can use hand times. So you look here at the girls, 10 to 12, 4x100 meters. A quick run through here. That's lane 4. That's a Brampton primary. And Jermaine Brown gives a nod of approval. Windward Road primary in 1, Spanish Town in 2, Rock Hall in 3, Brampton in 4, License primary in 5, Greater Portmore in 6, Nagahead in 7, and Harborview in lane 8. Had a fantastic 2022 license primary in the corporate era section of the In Sports Primary School Championships.
Right, so they're center their blocks for the primary schools under 12 girls 4x100 meter relay. Record of 51.58 set by Nagahead back in 2019. Windward Road, Spanish Town, Rock Hall, Brampton, License, Greater Portmore, Nagahead, and Harborview. And sent off, clean break for the field. Moving well up top, that is Nagahead and Harborview. So it's Harborview looking good at this point, along with Nagahead. Problems for Nagahead, but Harborview moving quite well up top. And also traveling well on the inside, that's License from St. Thomas. So Harborview still leading on the inside. Spanish Town and in Nagahead, they also trail. But way up top, it's Harborview. Look to the east and you'll see Harborview primary leading this one. Harborview on this final leg. It's Harborview on the inside though. That is Spanish Town and Windward Road. Can Spanish Town hold off? Can Harborview hold off Spanish Town? To the line they go, and Spanish Town, rather Harborview will do it just ahead of Spanish Town. So Harborview primary takes it. 51.58 the previous record. I think that stands. So it is Harborview who take the primary schools under 12 girls 4x100 meter relay. We'll give you the final placings shortly. So Harborview, your victors.
I tell you what, towards the end of that race, the anchor leg runner there, she thought that was a crown on her head. I can tell you that. It was a superb run. Had problems on the first exchange on the outside. That's lane 8. That's Harborview in the middle. License trying just a nice trot to get out, hand out, collect the baton. And she was off. Spanish Town primary at this stage, getting back into the top spot reckoning, but Harborview had enough space. And once that exchange was completed, there was no getting back to Harborview. Trying they might. Spanish Town primary in lane 2 and Windward Road in lane 1. Was a nice and easy race for Harborview in the end. Came across the line, won that in 54 seconds flat. So the record survives 51.58. Harborview winning 54 seconds flat. Spanish Town primary 54.36. Rock Hall 54.73. And you had Windward Road, Russell, Nagahead, License, and Greater Portmore completing the field there. On the primary school athletes, we're going to turn our attention now to the high school athlete, and you'll hear from Hubert Lawrence, Jordan Forte standing by. Before you hear any of them, you'll of course hear from Dwayne Extall.
All right, thank you, Renardo, and clean handover for this leg of the coverage here at the Gibson McCook Relays here at the National Stadium, and the fans coming out in their numbers. Fine music being played in the National Stadium, recognizing our history in reggae music. So you just saw action in the boys and girls prep and primary schools under 10 and 10 to 12. Fabulous competitions as we look to the track for the big boys in the high school section. The Class 1 boys relay on track. The record in this event, a spectacular 39.32 set in 2015 by Calabar. And 8 fine finalists. There we see Edwin Allen, on screen. Wolmer's boys, 41-47 to qualify. 48-84, Kingston College. Here's the lineup, official lineup. St. Jago in lane 1. Defending champions from last year. Herbert Morrison, they go in 2. St. Elizabeth Technical, 3 fastest qualifiers today at 40.23. Jamaica College in 4. Camperdown, the Sprint Factory, in lane 5. Kingston College, 40.84 in qualifying. Wolmer's Boys School, one of the few high schools, boys schools, so have gone below 40 seconds in the 4x1, and Edward Allen out in lane 8, 41.19 to qualify for this afternoon's final. So the Class 1 boys up first as we get ready for spectacular running. There is Kingston College.
That's Kingston College. Came in as the season leaders at 40.80. Inside them, Camperdown, Penny Relay champions last year with 3 members of that team in school. Roshan Clark, the captain, out of school now, professional, excellent 400-meter hurdler.
Yeah, fantastic team. This team, Jamaica College.
Last year's Class 1 champions with 3 members of that team back in school, 39.43 last season.
Here is St. Elizabeth Technical. The fastest qualifiers today, looking to go below 40 seconds.
Tried to warn people, 40.9 on the grass at Stets last week at Western Champs.
Yeah, Herbert Morrison with the Daly brothers, they will go in lane 2. And here the defending champions, St. Jago.
Won their heat at 41.47.
Yeah, looks like Owen Kelly will lead them off.
Won last year.
Yeah.
Greg Prince, big anchor. The record, 39.32. I think this JC team and this KC team and this Stets team have the speed to run in the low 39s. 3 great teams.
Yeah, and I think 3 great teams, but I think they're missing personnel. People who could have been in their teams to bolster their ambitions to run faster. So we get set for the final of the Class 1 boys, 4x1, St. Jago, Herbert Morrison, Stets, JC, Camperdown, KC, Wolmer's, Edwin Allen.
So the big boy finals start in Class 1. So look at Wolmer's boys.
Set.
In lane 7. And they're away cleanly. Good start for JC. Very good running in the middle of the track so far for JC. Look at KC as well. Bouaji and Krumi on the backstretch for them as they go marching now. Kingston College away from Jamaica College, but Jamaica College right there in striking distance. Edwin Allen on the outside also running well. It's KC, JC, Edwin Allen. Look at Stets on the inside as well. Who will make the final handover first? Jamaica College with the speed of Christopher Scott on anchor. On the outside, KC getting back into it through Yuri Lawrence. It's Kingston College who's torn by JC. Looks across and takes it. 40.11 on our clock downstairs. Kingston College, the purple and whites, are in great form, and they have announced themselves here at the Gibson McCook Relays. 40.14 seconds for KC, the Class 1 boys champion for the 4x1s here at Gibson McCook 2023.
This team has been winning since Class 3 with Yuri Lawrence and Bouaji. I think Adrian Carr's on that squad as well. Didn't see him on the track, but outstanding by Jamaica College. Led to the last exchange. Got off to a rocket start.
Jaden Reed for Jamaica College with a brilliant start on the first leg. Kingston College safe. Bouaji and Krumi, the world under-20 silver medalist, national junior record holder, storms down the backstretch, but Jamaica College keeping them honest. Great exchange from JC and KC. Edwin Allen motoring on the outside. Wolmer's being left behind. Stets trying to keep tabs on them, but JC, Kingston College here. Christopher Scott gets the baton before Yuri Lawrence and heads down the runway. But Yuri Lawrence, the tall man from Kingston College, been doing this since his days at Nagohead now comes through and wins in spectacular fashion for Kingston College, 40.14. And a facile win for them, 40.14 Kingston College, Jamaica College. As Hubert mentioned, 40.36. Camperdown at 40.37, the Penn Relays champions, with Edwin Allen 40.50. St. Jago 41.15. A high-quality final with 3 teams not finishing.
Even until the second leg was finished, and then Yuri Lawrence, the baton behind on the anchor leg, big anchor. Great name in track and field, Lawrence.
Must say I'm surprised, Hubert. Not so much that Yuri Lawrence did what he did, anchored them, I think, in Trinidad. And looking in good form, but a little surprised that Christopher Scott could not find a response.
Well, it's a matter of confidence, no. Yuri Lawrence has been gaining confidence as we've seen him come back to his best in the past couple of seasons. Christopher Scott also coming back to his best as well. But the boys class 1 final, done and dusted. The boys class 2 are on track. Herbert Morrison in lane 1. St. Elizabeth Technical in lane 2. Jamaica College, they go in 3. Kingston College in 4. Calabar go in lane 5. Excelsior Eagles in 6 with William Knibb in 7. And St. Jago on the outside in lane 8.
Calabar on your screen, 41.66 and 42.88 in one event at 1 week, the Camperdown Classic. Came in as the season leaders. It's gone down to 41.96 by JC. I thought they would have gone fast in Class 1, down to the mid-39s. This is Class 2, the record 40.65 at Kingston College with Ban and Dontre Williams and Akeem Bloomfield and Javon Matheson a few years back. That was a great team. Here's KC, great in Class 3 a couple of years ago. Stets winning in Class 3, so Stets are in this final as well, and maybe one of the other teams they put. But Calabar with Nicoy Bramwell and Shaquille Gordon may be the team to beat here.
Yeah, Bramwell will come into this team and line up on the backstretch. Last year's Class 3 200-meter champion. And Calabar have signaled their intention to be dominant in Class 2 this year. But the relays always brings and gives surprises. Kingston College took Class 1. Can they do the double in Class 2? Calabar, though, fastest qualifiers, second fastest qualifiers behind Jamaica College at 41.96.
So Class 2 boys, 4x1 final.
Set
Position. Away cleanly. Good start for KC already in lane number 4. And they've made up some of the stagger on Calabar on their outside. Let's look at the first exchange. It's safe for KC. JC now giving chase on their inside. So it's JC, KC, much like it was in Class 1. Calabar on the outside with a bit of work to do. Jamaica College and the KC are neck and neck at the moment. Here come Calabar on this third leg. Calabar back into the picture. KC, JC and the Calabar. It's a KC who have a slight advantage at the moment. Here come a storming Calabar, and it's Calabar who surges ahead to leave Jamaica College and KC behind. Stets in third. Calabar, 41.30 on our clock. 41.31 for C-Bar. Get the win. And my, that ankle leg was impressive.
Now Shaquille Gordon, the outstanding sprinter hurdler, has been in great form all season. They came in as the best team in the nation and have left here with the watches and the gold medals.
Yeah,
Brilliant by Calabar.
Yeah, 41-31 for Calabar. Great execution from the boys from Red Hills Road. And my, have they lived up to the billing? Jamaica College second in this one. So 2 second places for Jamaica College in back-to-back relays, but Calabar, the toast of Class 2 so far this season, and they'll be looking to carry this momentum with them throughout the rest of the season into championship. There, the Calabar team in the stands with their spectators cheering on their teammates as we look again at the start of the race. Great start from Calabar and Kingston College in the middle of the track, doing most of the running. Calabar, Kingston College catching up to Calabar. Bramwell off Calabar on the backstretch, his first year in Class 2, but running very, very well. KC, though, storming. St. Jago and William Knibb on the outside. JC, they change first on the third leg. But Kingston College comes to the fore, but Calabar will not let this go. Calabar on the outside. They come back to the shoulder of Kingston College. JC, again, they change first. But Calabar in the home stretch overhauls the two teams and puts their foot to the pedal and runs through the line for a fantastic finish. Nice high knees, powerful strides. The Kingston College athlete feeling the pressure. Calabar applying themselves adeptly through this one to take Class 2 4x1.
Gordon is big and powerful, did the damage on the ankle leg.
Yeah, I wondered if we might get a glimpse of Taj Marquez White for Kingston College. Would look so smooth over 400 meters earlier this season. Perhaps
delicate though, so has moved up in distance.
Yeah, we look at the results. Calabar High School, they top the standings at 41.31. Jamaica College 41.49, and Stets the top three 41.73. Kingston College off the podium.
And all of
Class
those
2.
times, the fastest 3 times in the 4x1 Class 2 this season.
We turn our attention because, as we said, action coming fast on the track. The boys Class 3, there, Wolmer's behind them, Kingston College. We'll give you the official lineup in short order, but this Class 3 boys final record 41.83, set in 2014 by Calabar. So Stets, Herbert Morrison, Calabar, St. Jago in 4, Kingston College in 5. The fastest qualifiers in this one, Wolmer's 49.96, Homewood in 7, JC in 8. St. Jago at 43.66, one to watch.
And sent away cleanly. This is the Class 3 boys 4x100 meter final. A good start for Wolmer's boys, and also running well St. Jago at the moment. Wolmer's hand over safely, so too KC and St. Jago. Those three in the middle of the picture are making the best running at the moment. Look at St. Jago on this backstretch. They have stormed to the front. St. Jago hand over safely. KC right behind them, and Wolmer's now left back. Calabar begin to get themselves back into the picture. It's St. Jago and the Calabar. KC with some work to do. Problems a little bit there for St. Jago with a delayed handover, but here come KC on the outside. KC go by St. Jago, and it's KC versus Calabar. It's going to be Kingston College who are going to get there. Is it just ahead of Calabar to take the Class 3 event? And much like it's been at the national level for several years, it's the purple and whites of Kingston College versus the green and black of Calabar, neck and neck right to the line for the Class 3 boys 4x100 meters.
That was really, really close. Starts, St. Jago takes command early. Great first leg, great second leg. You can see that gold top closing on the white top of KC. Baton pass down the back straight away. St. Jago with Morgan have command. KC to the left, matching them, but the stagger already closed on them. Here's a second change. Great change again by St. Jago. And on the outside, JC tried to hustle. Here's where the race begins to change. Calabar eats up ground on the top curve and comes into the exchange with St. Jago, who move a bit early. The change is delayed, and then KC and Calabar set off in hot pursuit.
And KC got to the front first, but it was very close between themselves and Calabar.
KC in front from this view is clear.
Got it.
Purple and white over green and black in the boys' class 3 4x1s.
That, gentleman, is sheer grit and determination. A determination fueled by years of rivalry between the purple and white and the green and black. And look at the official results. Kingston College 43.39, Calabar 43.41. St. Jago had a great exchange, not the best exchange on the ankle leg. They get third, 43.76, and Jamaica College 44.31, with Wolmer's in fifth, Herbert Morrison in sixth.
And once again, we're peaking the fastest time in the nation in the boys' class 3 4x1.